Hi everyone, how are you doing? Today's topic is the Supreme Court judgment today regarding the CBI inquiry of Sushant Singh case. So we'll just go a little bit into the legal aspects and what this whole thing was about. The seventh schedule, which is Article 246, details what is the work that the union, that means the central government, can do, what is the work that the state can do, and what is the work that both the state and the center can do. So the list for the center is known as the union list. It is list 1 as shown here. So if you just see here, it says that it will take care of all the naval, military and air force and arms and firearms, atomic energy, CBI investigation and foreign jurisdiction, citizenship, extradition. It's a long list. It has about 97 items in the union list. Then we start with the state list. So if you see, the first thing in the state list is the public order. Then there is police. So that means police or law and order is a state subject. But there is a Delhi Special Police Establishment Act which was passed in 1946, from which the CBI draws its power. There is no separate Central Bureau of Investigation Act. CBI draws all its power from the DSP Act, the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, and under which there is a section 6 which says that the CBI will not get involved in any case unless the state will request it. Well, before we go to the Supreme Court judgment, let me just quickly show you Schedule 7. So as you see, courts of war subject to provision of entry, industry subject to provision so and so, gas and gas works, trade, production, markets and fair, etc. So betting, gambling, salaries, allowances of ministers of state. So all this, and then as you go down, you will come to a list which is known as the concurrent list. Concurrent list, these are the subjects on which both the state and the center can take decisions and make laws. Criminal law, criminal procedure. So as you can see, bankruptcy, insolvency. So these are certain things on which both the center and the state can make their independent laws. Now I'm going to quickly go and open the Supreme Court judgment. So this is the judgment written by Justice Hrishikesh Roy. It's a single judge bench and it's regarding this transfer of petition under section 406 of the CRPC 1973. So this is what the whole thing is. The petitioner is a friend of the deceased. So here the petitioner was Riya Chakravarti. She had made a petition to the Supreme Court to transfer the case to CBI, not realizing that the Supreme Court will act on it, and later on she retracted and said, how can CBI step in? CBI has no power because only the state of Maharashtra can ask the CBI to step in. She probably did not realize that the Supreme Court will take her request very seriously. The petitioner contends that the incidents alleged in the complaint lodged by the father of the deceased have taken place entirely within Maharashtra, and therefore the complaint of deceased should have been forwarded to the jurisdiction of the police station in Mumbai and not in Patna. This was the contention of the petitioner, and it says that under the section 6 of the Delhi Special Police Act, etc., etc., so which I just mentioned, that under this section the case cannot be transferred to CBI unless the state will ask. Because India follows what is known as a federal structure. A federal structure is one in which the center and the state are two separate entities and they coexist, but most of the powers are there with the state, but only the powers which matter to the country, like I just showed you, the union list and the concurrent list, they are with the center, and there is no interference, much of interference from the center, except where it is defined in Schedule 7. I just go to what the issues are. So these are all what both the sides have said, and then we'll go to what are the issues that the court had to decide. Here we go. Having heard the respective stand of the parties, following are the core issues. So talking about the core issues, whether this court has power to transfer investigation under section 406 of CRPC. Under section 406 of CRPC, the court has the power to transfer a case from one court to the other. It doesn't have the power to transfer an investigation from one police station to the other. It is beyond the purview of the court. But here, we'll see what the court has to say. So what the Mumbai police had done was, they never registered an FIR. They registered a complaint for accidental death, and they started investigating under section 174, which is like a panchnama kind of a thing. So what they do is they submit a report, they prepare this report and they submit to the magistrate. They're supposed to do it within 7 days of an unnatural death being reported, but it's been almost 2 months now, you know what has been happening. So whether the proceedings under section 174 is an investigation at all or not, that is what the court had to decide. Then whether the Patna FIR is valid at all or not, that is the next question. And what is the power of a single judge exercising jurisdiction under section 406 of CRPC? Can it transfer the case? So these were the basic questions. So first of all, what the court has said is that it has given so many precedents, this case and this case and this case, these are all precedents, and it has come to a conclusion that proceedings under section 174 of CRPC are not an investigation because an FIR has never been filed by the Mumbai police. So we cannot say that there are two parallel investigations happening, one in Mumbai, one in Patna, because in Mumbai section 174 is not an investigation, period. So there is only one case that has been filed, which is in Patna. Then it gives so many precedents. You can just see let me just clarify. Whenever any court in India pronounces a judgment, it has to be a speaking order. A speaking order means that it cannot just say that case transfer to CBI. No, it has to justify every single thing that it says with quoting precedents, with quoting laws, with quoting the logic that is followed, etc., etc. And in any order, any judgment, there are two parts, which is one is the ratio dissendae and other is the obiter dictum. The ratio dissendae is the portion in which the judgment has been pronounced, and the obiter dictum is the portion in which it has made references, made a commentary, but it is not the actual judgment. So normally, when we talk about a precedent being applied in some other court, we are talking about the ratio. For example, if a high court passes a judgment, then all the courts in that particular state have to follow that ratio of that particular judgment as a precedent. They may not follow the obiter dictum. Similarly, if the Supreme Court passes a judgment, the ratio of that particular judgment becomes the precedent for all the courts in India. And if a judgment is passed in a high court, it becomes not mandatory for other high courts or other states, but it can be relied on and it can be referred. This is what precedent is. So in the same state, a high court's judgment is a precedent. The ratio of the judgment is a precedent. In a Supreme Court judgment, the ratio is applicable to all the courts of India. In the case of one high court, it is not applicable as mandatory to other high courts or other courts in other states, but they can refer to it, but not mandatory. Now, second question is regarding the Patna police jurisdiction. Our law says that when an offence is committed in a particular jurisdiction, only that police station and only that magistrate has the right to conduct investigation in that particular case. But if a crime has taken place over several jurisdictions, for example, if there's a embezzlement of money which has taken place in multiple places, or if there's a crime which is a continued crime which has taken place in so many places, so any of the places where this crime has continued to take place has a jurisdiction and the case may be initiated in any of these places. That is what the law says. So Supreme Court has taken reference of this particular law and pronounced that Patna, because the father lived there and because he had reported some embezzlement and some money matters there, and also reported from Patna that his son is in danger, so Patna has a jurisdiction to file a case because this is a continued offence which transcended from Mumbai to Patna. So that is what the court has decided, and it has given so many references here, you can see. So this is all obiter dictum. Here is the ratio dissendae. Having regard to the law enunciated by this court as noted above, it must be noted that the Patna police committed no illegality in registering the complaint. Looking at the nature of the allegation in the complaint, which also relate to misappropriation and breach of trust. So this is the ratio of this particular issue. Then it has said that the Patna police, although found to be competent to investigate, goes on to say, so they said in case Mumbai registers a case now or in the future, even that will be transferred to CBI, or any case related to Sushant Singh's death or murder or suicide, whatever, will be transferred to CBI automatically. So here it says that while the CBI cannot conduct an investigation without the consent of the concerned state, Like I said, that the Supreme Court has the power to transfer the case from one court to the other, but they don't have the power to transfer an investigation from one police station to the other. But here in this case, they pronounced that whatever Mumbai police was doing was not an investigation at all, and whatever was happening in Patna was an investigation which was legally initiated there, and they have recommended that CBI come and take over. So this transfer of case from Patna to CBI is a valid transfer, and CBI can take care of the case, and the section 6 of Delhi Special Police Act does not restrict the transfer of the case to CBI, because so it goes on to say this, and direction on investigation. The conflict between the, so now it has also said that it was stated by, I think, the Riya Chakrabarti side and both the sides, that this has become a political case and there might be miscarriage of justice. So taking shelter under that plea, the Supreme Court has said that because it has become a political case now, so I'm taking it away from both the Bihar government and the Mumbai government, Maharashtra government, and giving it to a neutral party, which is the CPI. The above ratio makes it amply clear that the Supreme Court is a deserving case can invoke Article 142. Now, Supreme Court has the power to, like I said, under Article 142, to take any action. I'll just show you what this article is all about. 1 second. So, under this article, it says that enforcement of decree and order of the Supreme Court, and unless it is discovery, the Supreme Court, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, may pass such decree or make such order as is necessary for doing complete justice in any cause or matter pending before it. So what it says is that Supreme Court can take any decision to make sure that justice is done, and it will be totally lawful and legal if the Supreme Court does that, sake of justice, under Article 142 of the Constitution of India. The Supreme Court has made clear that the Patna FIR was legal. They made clear that the transfer from Patna to CBI was legal. They also made it clear that the investigation by Mumbai was not an investigation at all under Section 174. They made it clear that under Article 142 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court has the powers to take any action to make sure that justice is meted out. So basically, this is kind of a triumph for justice today, because Supreme Court has taken a very bold, a very strong decision. And normally all Supreme Court decisions are very well thought out and very well described if people have the patience to read it and to understand it. Normally people don't. Many reporters, they never actually pick up the judgment and read it. I don't know how many people have read the judgment on so many other important cases. There would not be so much controversy if they read the orders and the judgments of the Supreme Court, because they're very nicely thought out, very just, and very, what shall I say, professional. So nowadays people are making all kinds of allegations against the Supreme Court, because making an allegation against the Supreme Court is scandalizing the Supreme Court, and it basically reduces the trust that people have in this great institution. And if people don't trust the Supreme Court of the country, what will they trust? So, there'll be chaos, there'll be anarchy. It's very important that people retain their faith in Supreme Court, and they can do that by reading out judgments like this. It's very simple. Just go to the Supreme Court website. You'll find the judgments there. You can just put the name of the parties and do a small search. You'll find the judgment, download it, read it, and it'll make a lot of sense. So that's the reason I made this video today, guys. I hope you liked it, and see you again next time. Bye bye.